What's up, Block 22 Nation? It's your boy Gobo coming at you with another NFL recap show. Dames Marvs on the ones and
What's up?
twos. How are you, my friend?
Aces.
Aces and in bases. So you're wearing a Yankees hat. We had a not so exciting World Series game last night, but the Yanks stay alive. Um, I don't know. I have some opinions about baseball. I think it's like the Dodgers should probably win the World Series because they've spent all that money on Shohei and all those huge contracts. Yankees also have a bunch of huge contracts. I don't know, but it's like you say like you like good football. I think this is good baseball. I think these are the two best teams in the league playing in this final.
Oh, that's music to my ears, my friend, because I have another show where the co-host is he's 25.
Yeah.
He hates money. I don't care about money at this point. I just want to see, you know, people mash it up. And for him to say it's not good for baseball, I can't possibly understand how the two most popular teams with the most fans would
Yeah.
not be a good thing.
Hey,
And
a,
what is he?
a, a rivalry going back like 120 years. Yeah, like it's
Mariners Rockies, is that good for baseball? No.
I you know and I don't want to get like I don't want to like totally sidetrack this show into baseball. Curtis, if you're watching, I bet you're loving the shit out of this. Um, I'm a huge Rockies fan. Been a Rockies fan. They came to Denver. I was 7 years old. I adore the Rockies. Um, I think I'm done. I think I'm done with them.
Really?
Finding out about because for one, the Monforts will not pay their players. And they don't care about winning. They've said so many times that like their goal is to make money, not to win games. And they this is the second year in a row we've come in last place in our division. And I found out that the Rockies took a net loss this year, and instead of like adjusting their business practices at all, the Momforts decided to cut worker salaries. So they're cutting salaries to parking attendants, food vendors, security guards, groundskeepers, like all the people who make their organization work, because they can't cut the players' salaries because they have contracts, and so they're cutting money where they can, and it's the middle and lower class people who work for the organization, and I'm like, man, fuck you. Like, I hate to say it, like it's not it's bad enough that you guys never win, but like now you're like immoral off the field as well. So it's like I don't know. I'm maybe I am accepting applications for new favorite baseball teams because goddamn, I cannot stand this team anymore.
That's yeah, we actually have a comment saying Colorado is the worst management or the worst ownership in all of baseball,
In baseball for sure.
which I
In nearly
argued
all
with,
of
but I
baseball.
didn't know all that. Ours is just they won't give money for more players, even though they're the most profitable team in baseball. Seattle is.
Seattle is.
Not that they make the most money, but the profit margins, they're the highest
But the
profit
the
margin.
margins, that's right. Well, yeah, they're spending I mean, that's the thing. When you got teams like the Dodgers and Yankees who are spending 10 times as much money as the other teams.
Well, they're earning 10 times as much as us too, but
I mean,
whatever
that's the
reason
thing is like baseball is a capitalist sport, man. There's no salary cap. You can pay those players whatever you can pay them.
yeah.
And it is what it is. I mean, people have opinions. It does kind of lead to these super teams, but I mean, like, no player is perfect, and there's still the games to be played. Baseball is a very tactical game, and it's not usually won by strength. I don't know. I did watch the ALCS with the Guardians and Yankees, and that last game where it was Juan was
Oh,
up
no.
and I remember he looked that pitcher straight in the eye and dared him to throw a strike. And the second he did, he creamed it. I was
Well,
like,
and to this is what makes baseball so great, other than no clock. It truly is the only sport where any team can beat any team on any given day.
absolutely it is.
Really, it really is.
I mean, shit, Moneyball
Yeah,
exists. Anyways, all right, let's talk about football. We spent enough time on the gentleman's game. Let's get down in the dirt and smash our faces into each other. Um,
I like it.
week was it week 8 recap? Yeah. No shit. Okay, God, the season's flying by. All right, week 8. Start off with a stunner in the land of the Dodgers. The Rams host a Thursday night primetime game against the Vikings. Get a win. Minnesota's 5-2. They're now third in the division they were leading.
I don't know if you recall this, Gobo, but last week when I said I kind of wanted to pick the Rams because I kind of feel like they're going to win, you were like, really? Like,
I
I think this game, I did not switch my pick stupidly, but I said I will not at all be surprised if the Rams win this game. And sure enough, I should have put money on it.
You knew,
Or I
but you
should have
lacked
at least picked them.
confidence.
I mean,
Yeah, you could have at least picked him on this show and gained a game on me this week. Um, but yeah, I mean, unfortunately I didn't get to watch a lot of this game. I saw the highlights. Man, is it just I guess it's just the Vikings will Viking. I mean, I guess every team has an off game. They did not look like themselves in this game. The
well,
confidence was gone. The ability to move the ball seemed to be gone.
Sam Darnold, he looked great. He was great.
I
He
mean,
was
yeah.
great. Matthew Stafford got his receivers back, and that's all she wrote. I mean, I'm scared for this week because they're coming to Seattle. But Puka's back. He dropped the first pass thrown to him. Then he was flawless from there on. Um, Cooper Kupp is back. He's been subject to trade rumors before the deadline. But if they're gonna, I mean, they're 3-4. We thought they were out at 2-4, and they're really not. They're only a game back in the division, so I cannot see them moving Cooper Kupp. But we'll
Not
see.
this year,
Yeah,
no.
I mean,
Well, I heard Pittsburgh wanted Cup bad.
that would be a
Um,
great fit for them.
they need receivers for sure. Um, but yeah, wacky game. Yeah, LA with their receivers. I mean, we talked about it that NFC West is pretty much wide open. Just especially with San Francisco faltering. Seattle's been playing really inconsistent, sorry to say. I mean, Arizona is not completely out of it, but I think they're kind of the divisional whipping boy at this point. But yeah, LA, I mean, they got an opportunity. They could be a division winner, host a playoff game. It's definitely possible. All right. Moving on. And that's not even the biggest upset this week. The next game we're going to talk about, I think definitely is. Um, Baltimore, seemingly red hot Baltimore, goes into Cleveland. Deshaun Watson's out for the season. Cleveland doesn't really have an identity outside of just being shitty and being mad that they traded Baker Mayfield. Um, have a home game against the best team in the division. They go out there. Jameis Winston throws a bullet with what like 45 seconds left in the game. Cleveland wins. What a ball game this was, and I hate it because like I hate the Browns for the moral shit they do off the field, but like that was it was kind of a fun game to watch, man.
I I don't have an opinion on Jameis Winston. I'm most recently mad at the fan base. Um, and I
Oh,
thought
sure.
they didn't deserve. I mean, they didn't deserve this after what they did last week. But it is football. They're 2-6. They're most likely not going anywhere. This wake up call provides an open door for Pittsburgh to come in, and I don't ultimately, as freaking sad as this is, it doesn't eliminate Cincinnati. So I mean, football will football. Go Bo.
I mean, you never know. You never know. I mean, the last time the Packers won the Super Bowl, 2010, we were out. We needed to win like 5 games in a row just to make the playoffs, and we did. And then we won through the whole postseason. Like momentum is crazy in the NFL, so like you
It
can
really
never
is.
count the team out. Um, so next one kind of by the numbers. Ooh, I mean this has got to be the highest scoring game of this season. Um, Detroit hosting a kind of a hapless Titans team. I picked Detroit to win by 32, and I underestimated the amount they were gonna win by. Um, yeah, I don't even really know if there's much to talk about this game. I'm terrified of the Lions are coming to Green Bay this week. Um, God damn, yeah, they just poor Titans.
Well, we know Tennessee's been on fire sale
Hmm.
recently. What pieces are going to stick around, we don't know yet. Um, the extent of what they're going to be willing to let go, but they're accumulating draft picks. Seems like almost every other day, which is going to be good for them moving forward. If you're going to rebuild, draft picks is the way to do it. That way you can do it on the cheap and then fill in the gaps with, some money players if you really need to. But this Lions team, fella, I've got them as number one team in the NFL now. I can no longer reject uh that narrative. I know the Chiefs are undefeated, but they haven't won by more than a single score. They haven't looked dominant, and I don't care who you're playing against. They've played some powder puff teams like the Raiders this week and won by 7. This
Right.
is a statement game, and this says not only are we good, but we're 3 times as good as you are.
Yeah,
So
no, this is yeah, this game was the Lions grabbing the microphone saying "Hey league, I'm coming for you." It's Booker T yelling at Hulk Hogan like it is yeah, it's absolutely they're scary, they're dominant. This is the type of game you'd expect from this Lions team. I think that they've had some identity crisis issues. They couldn't really figure out, like their rush game. They certainly figured it out now. So,
no,
yeah, if
but
this
they had 49 points with 7 minutes to go in the third quarter. They just backed off. Otherwise,
yeah,
they could have dropped 70 on these clowns
I mean, yeah, I mean, I understand why they didn't because it's like
because it's not college football.
because it's not college and you have 18 games in a season, you have to keep your players healthy. So, like, you don't want to risk somebody tearing their ACL when you're up by 50 points. Um, but still, goddamn. Tennessee, I mean, yeah, I would like to say, they have a future of some kind, but yeah, draft capital is great, but like it's so uncertain. So it's like the way that their GM and their front office has been making picks in the past, I kind of like they went all in on Will Levis, and so it's like who's the next guy they're gonna haplessly go all in on? Is it Brock Ewers? Is it Jalen Milrow? I think they definitely need to figure out their quarterback situation. Either way, Tennessee sucks. Detroit beat the shit out
That will be interesting while they're amidst fire sale. Do they hold on to Will Levis?
about this. We both picked Houston to win this game, but we both picked them to win by more than a score, and they barely get it done. Field goal at the end.
Yeah. So knowing this, and we'll talk about this more on the other show, but both of us predicted more than a 3-point loss for the Colts. We did not see that resulting in benching Anthony Richards. So Richardson.
Richardson.
Um, yeah, dude, I figured if you were within 3 points of the Texans, you'd feel good about. I mean, no, not that a loss ever feels good, but I mean, these guys have been crushing you for 3 or 4 years without being any good. So they're 6-2. Colts fall to 4-4. Still not out of the race by any stretch. Um, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, but I will say, unfortunately, Stephon Diggs left this game with an injury. He's out for the year. So, ouch, Ouch on both.
It's a rough year to be a wide receiver, man. Like we're gonna talk about it on the other show, but like a couple more key injuries to the receivers. Like the Rams have had receiver issues. Now the Ravens are dealing with it. The Texans are dealing with it. I mean, these are the best teams in the league are dealing with receivers going down every week. So it's like Amon-Ra St. Brown, watch your back, dude.
Oh, are you calling it? Did you
I'm
just? Oh my
I'm
God! Why?
I'm
Why? Why
we'll
would you
see.
do that?
We'll see. Why would you do that? Um, all right, we'll head down to Duval. Talk about this game. I'm happy that we won. Okay, I'm happy we won the game. Um, 30-27. Couple of things I want to say before you talk about how right you were about your prediction. Um, Packers did not win in dominant fashion like I thought they would. Jordan Love goes down. Malik Willis comes in support, does a great job. Malik Willis is undefeated this season. Every game he's played in, the Packers have won, and I think that says a lot about him, about his ability to play under pressure, to come in. That being said, Jordan Love is definitely the leader of this team. He's definitely our starting quarterback. We play better. We play more dominant when he's in the game. Um, our defense, couple of lapses, but I'll tell you what, that Ingram touchdown catch at the end to tie the game, that was a beautiful play, man. Like even watching that, even as a Packers fan, I was like, God damn, that was a sweet catch. Like there was nothing we could have done differently to defend that. So, all right, you let me know what's the story.
I'm gonna
Why
challenge
is
you a little bit.
Jacksonville playing well but not getting wins?
I'm gonna challenge you a little bit first. I believe Malik came in for one play in week one, and they did not win that game.
He that's right. He came in for the Hail Mary and fell down.
So
Yeah.
you need to change your rhetoric to every game he started. Well, I guess this is no, because
He
he didn't.
didn't start this game and he won. Yeah.
Okay, any game where he played significant time.
Yeah,
Well,
any game
I'm just
in
being petty,
America.
Bobo. I'm being petty. I realize this.
Yes, any game played on American soil,
So here's
he's
the
won.
thing, dude. I view the Jacksonville Jaguars as the AFC's Seattle Seahawks. You don't know a lot of players on their team. You don't really know what you're gonna get when you play against them. And I know that Seattle's better than what they put out on the field so far. And I feel the same thing about the Jaguars. And actually think the Jaguars have a better quarterback than Seattle. Um,
I definitely agree with that.
he is on a ship that is staying afloat, just existing week to week. They're not really doing anything of consequence. And being in every game is not a good consolation prize. The good consolation prize for this season will be a top 10 draft pick for them. And they desperately need it because you don't know anybody on this team. Give Lawrence some help before he says, I'm going for greener pastures, which I could totally see happening. Um, hell, I'd take him in Seattle.
Oh, of course you would. I think Jacksonville likes him. I think they're going to franchise tag him. Um, but they've already. We're going to talk about it on the next show. I love how much we say that on the recap show. But yeah, they're already Jacksonville also kind of in fire sale mode. The AF not a great time to be part of the AFC South. You got unless you're a Texans fan, talking to Cracker, one of our regular viewers, um, but you got the Colts benching their quarterback, and then the Jaguars and Titans are now moving some of their more prominent contracts to other teams. It sucks. It's a shitty division.
But that was a
Um,
good game. That was it. That was a fun game to watch. Like 27-27 with time running out,
yeah.
and you get another one from your kicker.
I'm gonna tell you what, Brandon McManus, welcome to Green Bay, dude. Like I'm wearing a Broncos jersey right now. I know he's a longtime Bronco, but like, god damn, man, like I'm so happy we have a kicker that can make kicks. Like how like it changes everything. Like you look at the Packers last year, there's at least 3 games we win if we make a damn field goal. you know? And then shit, even in the playoffs. We lost to San Francisco by 2. We make a field goal. That's maybe a win. I mean, I know that changes the dynamics of the game, but we did miss a key field goal at the end of the game. So who knows what happens this year? McManus, I hope he his consistency continues. Um, all right, Cardinals in Miami. You picked the Finns, and this was a good ass game.
This one upset me quite a bit.
Yeah, because they went for 2, right?
Yeah, and obviously a win for Arizona ties them with Seattle in the division, which, wow, NFC West still open for business. But yeah, I thought Tua's back. He is what makes that team go, and I was not wrong. It's just coaching decisions I don't agree with, but it is what it is. So,
Yeah, I mean Tua's back, but he's not the Tua that left us week 1 to go, unscramble his brain. You could tell there's definitely some accuracy issues.
oh, the
There's some vision issues.
fumble in the for the safety. This
Bro, like I mean if I'm Tua, if I work for the Dolphins organization, I think you need to start really thinking about like is this guy like you need to start thinking about the healthier players. Like Tua, and somebody needs to tell him. It's like you need to stop rushing up the middle. You need to wear a goddamn guardian cap, and you need to take care of your brain so you don't end up like one of these statistics at the end of your career. I know he's a tough guy. I know he can. He's come back from hellacious injuries like multiple times. Like I get it, but dude, you're gonna be scrambled eggs if you don't stop. Poor guy.
yeah.
But
I guess the argument, which isn't really for a recap show, but would be are players able to make those decisions for themselves, or should they be stopped short of that? And what's fair? I mean, that's what I struggle with.
I
I'm
think
like,
it's
somebody told him right now that he can never play again. The league said no. How that's not how is that fair?
I mean, it should be his decision for sure, but like, I don't know. Like, I think that also, like, I mean, as a NFL franchise, your goal is to win games. And it's like, I also think about like how consistent somebody like that's going to be in a long-term setting. I think the longevity of your players has to be factored in as well. It's another one of those, it's like you said though, it's like it's not really a good topic for a recap show because I think there's a lot of philosophical issues that are at play here. But I don't know. It kind of hurts seeing him out there and seeing him struggle the way he is, just knowing how much of a dynamic player he was before, getting his head smashed. But either way, Miami's coaching is kind of, confusing. Arizona gets a win. Um, and we can move on to a game that I really enjoyed covering. Because goddamn, do I hate this Jets team.
I came back to this going, yes, I got one on Gobo. But then I remembered and I had to rewatch it that you were like, I know he's gonna pick the Jets this time.
I thought you were gonna pick the Jets.
I was like,
Um, I honestly, I don't care if you would have picked the Jets. I'm still picking. I don't care that if you
you
would have
picked
picked.
first, and I was bummed because I knew that I was right. Because historically, and I don't care the players on the field, but historically, Jets cannot win in Foxborough.
They can't.
They just cannot.
It's been like, I mean, yeah, I don't know what the stat is, but it's like 9 of the last 10 times or something like that.
So, I mean, but good on both of us. Dude, I don't know if Drake May is hurt or not. He definitely went out and Jacoby Brissett finished this game, but they were only up 7-6 when May went out with the dude. That was, I don't know if it was a cheap shot or not, but he got dicked in the head. And that did not look good. He did play a couple snaps after that. And I realize it's not any, there's one person pretty much making the decision whether to put them in the protocol. And once they did that, he was not coming back in the game.
Yeah.
But
It's
I,
like, yeah, once a player enters concussion protocol, you know they're out for like at least the rest of the game.
yeah.
Um,
So we'll see what happens this week. I have no
I
information.
mean, I also like I just love it. I fucking love it that the Jets can't win games. Because it's like after all their dickering, all their fucking like passing blame onto Robert Sala, which I mean, yeah, definitely he's not a good coach, but like, yeah, it's just like the problem is under center, and now you went all in on this dude. You gave him all the pieces that he want. You fired the coach he didn't like, and now what are they 2-6? Fuck the Jets. Like I'm so happy they suck. I'm so happy.
Yep. I'm
Devontae, you're a child for wanting to get traded there.
gonna save my comments for the other show, but
I mean, yeah, we'll have to. They're in
they're
action again
very
this week,
similar.
so
Very similar.
yeah, yeah, they're in action again this week, so we can dunk on the Jets again. All right, division game: Atlanta, Tampa Bay. Both teams have been good but inconsistent. I picked Tampa, you picked Atlanta. You were correct. Pretty good game, 31-26.
Dude, here's the thing. You know I can't pick Tampa. I have a hard time picking them at full strength. Knowing they're down two receivers and Baker Mayfield's going, I'm not worried about it. I'm like, how could you not be worried about it? This is
Yeah, it's Mike Evans
they
makes it
hung in.
better.
They were so close. And Baker Mayfield, he's had I'm sold. He's a top 10 NFL quarterback all day long. And he's not on the best team. If you
No,
put him on some of these other teams, you're gonna win a lot of games. And I remember the beginning of this resurgence is when he came in for that Rams team and won them a game when Stafford was hurt. He just came in off the bench and was like, let's do it. I saw in that guy, I was like, wow, somebody needs to grab him next year because he's still got some ball left in him.
I don't know what it is. Maybe he's not like a good like off-field guy. Maybe he doesn't lift a lot of weight. Maybe he's like, maybe he makes mistakes at practice. Maybe he wears like fucking light up shoes or something stupid that just like makes people think that he's an idiot or a goober of some kind. You put like I don't understand it. Every time he's on the field, he finds ways to keep your team competitive. He makes accurate throws, he makes good decisions with the ball. He's not terribly mobile, but there's a lot of quarterbacks who aren't mobile. Um, no, I think he's great. I think he's a great quarterback. And if Tampa was better, I think he would maintain his ability to be an MVP candidate this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, without Mike Evans, Tampa's offensive production is definitely going to suffer. They're not a top tier team. I mean, I think that they definitely have a shot of being a playoff team in that shitty division, but like you got to win games like this. And I think Atlanta, Kirk Cousins also, he's one of those guys when he shows up, he shows up.
Yeah.
And that's he was like this with the Vikings, he was like this with the Commanders. He when you give him an opportunity and he's feeling it and he's got that mojo, like Cousins can make it happen. Can he do it in the playoffs? Obviously not. So we'll see how the rest of how the rest of the season goes, but good win for Atlanta. Um Cincinnati and Philly. You picked the Bengals because you hate the Eagles. Um, and kind of just a routine game. Jalen Hurts kind of and Saquon, they go in there, and the Bengals are wearing their stupid zebra jerseys. Uh
Well, I'm I picked the Bengals because you picked the Eagles.
yeah.
and I'm okay with that. I don't know what I would have picked had I gone first because I hate both of these teams this year. I was a little bit shocked at the score though.
Yeah.
When you think about all the disorder that's going on in Philadelphia, I dude, I don't know the state of this Bengals team. They're not out of it, which they should be. Um, but they're not. They're not out of it yet. So where do we go? Where do they go from here? That's a hard one to swallow. Meanwhile, Philadelphia is trying to hang tight with Washington. I mean, they're clearly over the Giants and Cowboys at this point. Um, but yeah, this was kind of a shocking game to me too, a little bit.
Yeah, the fact that Phillies did so well, but I think it's just like if you don't have a consistent run defense, like you Saquon is going to find a way,
Well, and
and
I've always felt like Joe Burrow is better than Andy Dalton, and he's better than Carson Palmer,
oh, definitively.
and
Joe Burrow took the Bengals to a Super Bowl.
and it's not translating yet. Like, what's going on? You know, like get with the program, get fixed.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in Cincinnati. There's no logistical reason. It's like if you look at like there's two teams, and we're gonna talk about the other one here in a second. It's Cincinnati and Dallas, where you look at their rosters and you're like, why aren't you better?
I say that especially with Cincinnati. I mean,
Yeah.
they've got
Like you have so many great
um,
players. Like
they've
I don't
got
understand.
three major positions, great players. And what do you? It's like, what are you doing?
I don't like it. Um, yeah, the Chargers host the Saints. Um, I don't even really want to talk about this game. The Chargers like they didn't play a good game and they still won in a blowout because the Saints are so fucked up. Like they have so many injuries. Like they
Hmm.
got Spencer Rattler who one of my secretaries at work told me he's like Spencer Rattler is the name of the reptile expert in for the Pawnee Parks and Rec department. I'm like that, you know what? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Um but yeah, they Chargers win. I was pretty close on the score too, so I yeah, just the Saints can't score without a quarterback.
No,
They can't. I don't know. Like you just you stack the box, you stop Kamara, like they got nothing else. Taysom Hill's dealing with injuries. I do love that he yeah, he didn't he block a punt and get a safety in this game? Like, yeah, who is this fucking guy?
he's
Like
he's
Taysom Hill is
a
in
guy that you want
position.
to take up a roster spot on your team because he could probably punt, he could probably long snap, he could probably do all that stuff, dude.
Yeah, you could probably kick a field
That's
goal in a pinch. Yeah.
athlete. He is just an athlete, man.
Like, yeah, next year the Pelicans are gonna have him at point guard.
I've been talking about him for 3 years, and I just
I
love his
I
game.
love Taysom Hill, man. Like he's such a fun player. Like you don't see that at the pro level, see a player play that many positions. Like especially with a team like the Saints who are dealing with injuries this year, they're like, put Taysom in, whatever. I don't know. I love it, man. But yeah, the Saints, it's paper bag time if you don't get your injuries worked out.
The Aints.
Okay. This next game, I don't know if you want to skip this one.
No, let's talk about
No,
it.
I was gonna say you probably have some more opinions. I picked Buffalo in a close game. You picked Seattle in a close game. Buffalo wins in a blowout. Um
Shame on me.
I don't understand the Seahawks team, man.
I
I'll
knew
let you go
better.
first. Yeah.
I knew better than to pick them after a convincing win in Atlanta where we did everything right. The identity of this team, but Gobo is to not do everything right. is to shoot yourself in the foot repeatedly, multiple times per game. And lo and behold, they were back at it this weekend. Two just complete gaffes from inside the 5 yard line on two different drives. You got to get point. If you're inside the 5 at first and goal, you need a touchdown. You need 7 points, 6 points. Twice this did not happen. And I mean, with teams like this, you can't. I mean, we picked off Josh Allen for the first time in like 350 some pass attempts, which is probably going to be the record for his career with the amount of turnovers that he has and how prone he is to do that. We did nothing with it. Inside the 20-yard line, nothing with that. And another big stop on third down, and what do? You rough the quarterback after the fact. You're fighting with each other on the sidelines because of just stupid penalties like that. Self-inflicted wounds cost Seattle 20 to 24 points every game. If they could manage that even mildly, they would be they could be undefeated if they did that. But they don't. And it's coaching to me at this point. I'm willing to cut him some slack because it's his first season, but I can't expect a Pete Carroll team that wasn't winning to just win because they have a new coach, especially when that new coach is the youngest coach in the NFL. So I don't know. I'm here for the rest of the season, but our schedule is absolutely brutal from here on out. So it's going to be a wild ride, Gilbo.
And it's funny you say that. I was just thinking that. I was like, man, Seattle has a tough schedule. You guys, yeah, like you play Detroit, you play Buffalo, like you got all these non-division opponents who are the best teams in the league. Um, yeah, like I think you hit the nail on the head. Is like, yeah, you can't make mental mistakes against a good team like Buffalo. Like they're gonna take advantage of it. Um, yeah, this one was ugly, and it's just like I don't because I mean like the Packers play Seattle later this year, and I'm like, depending on which team, it's either going to be a good game or we're going to roll them over, and it's like I don't know which, I don't know what's going to happen, because it's like a good Seattle team could come and kick the shit out of us. Hopefully not.
I will
Um,
I I will reveal this to the viewers at this point. That week, Gobo and I will be debating the Fail Mary.
let's do that,
We
James.
will be.
Let's do that because there's one key element to that play that is undebatable, but we'll talk about that in a few weeks.
I can't wait to hear it.
I'm excited. I'm
Truth
excited.
be
I'll,
told,
I
I can wait.
I'll send you some videos to put into editing, and then watch you'll just not do it. It's the
Uh,
problem with that with you being with the editor being the Seahawks guy. Um,
no, no, I'll be fair, but I
you'll put it in. Okay, I
have
appreciate
my
it.
stance. So
All right. So speaking of fail Marys, oh my God, was I laughing like a lunatic at the end of this game. So, first thing, before we talk about, the Bears and their ineptitude, um, what the fuck happened to the offenses in this game? You got these two lightning hot, rookie quarterbacks. You got two emerging offenses, two teams that have demonstrated abilities to score points. 18-15 is the final in this game. What the fuck?
they're well, they both do also have another side of the ball called defense.
I the Bears defense traditionally has not been very consistent
True,
over the last years.
but Caleb was 10 for 24, 131. Jaden Daniels was 21 of 38 for 326 and a tutty. No interceptions, no fumbles, clean
It's like
game.
neither of them threw an interception.
No, neither one of them threw interception. Clean games, both guys. Daniels added 52 yards on 8 carries on the ground. I think Caleb had 10 carries for 41. They both played exceptionally well. Their defenses
I don't
are,
know if I'd say 10 for 24 is exceptionally well,
well,
but
good enough to get,
I mean, they had a shot. Without that wacky play at the end, the Bears get this win.
yeah. And the only difference is that 326 and one, with 52 of them being on the last throw of the game. Now, what I want to talk about is more importantly, what the fuck happened with Tyreek Stevenson on that last play? Are
Was
you
that the
aware?
guy who was like talking shit to the fans and then he tipped the ball up right to McLaurin?
Yeah. Now, coach says, Eberflus says, we practice this 100 times a week. 100 times a week, he goes. And he was in detail. This is exactly what's supposed to happen. You got guys that run down, they turn around, and they're supposed to hit the ball forward. We have a guy that runs around in the back in case the ball gets tipped. And he goes, guess who that guy was? Tyreek, number 29 for the Bears, Tyreek Stevenson, is trash talking the fans as the play starts.
Right. The play is going and he's still talking to the
Play's
fans.
going, and he's like, we just won. And then he's like, oh shit. So he runs down the length of the field, which he should already be down there facing
He
this.
was he was down pretty deep already, yeah.
He's running this way. He should be facing this way, but he's running this way. And when he jumps up and tips the ball directly back to
Yeah. He t
Noah,
he,
what's his
he
name?
tip yeah, he tips it up and backwards.
Which, if he was in his correct position, the ball gets tipped forward and
Right.
ultimately to the ground, and the Bears win the game.
Or
Then,
or it's tipped back and it's a contested catch.
then you can taunt the fans all you want.
Right.
But this was, I mean, it's so bad that he's having to make an apology tour for that play alone.
He should. I mean, honestly, like if I'm a coach, depending on like what your personnel looks like, I'd fucking fire a player for doing shit like that. Like this is the NFL, dude. This is not a place for your fucking ego. And you cost us a game.
You know what I call these people, Go? I call them mental midgets, and I realize that that's not really a PC term,
Sure.
but mental small people doesn't work
Oh,
for me.
yeah, I mean, I don't want to like besmirch small people either. Yeah, so it's like,
But what that means to me is, and ego's included in this. If you're so much bigger than the game that you're mentally taking yourself out of it to do something else, that's the mental midget uh equilibrium. It's Seattle all day long. When DK Metcalf is fighting with people and getting 15-yard penalties,
there's no room for it, man.
it drives me absolutely bonkers. Or even when somebody's like slows down before they get to the end zone and the defender chops the ball out. That happened again this week too. Um, I've seen it happen with DK Metcalf. He's like, I'm so fast, no one can catch me. And guess what? Right before you cross the goal line, the defense, who actually is playing the sport at full speed, I hate this
That's
kind of stuff.
that's the thing is it's like this is the NFL. Like I don't know how many times I can say it. It's just like this is pro sports, man. Like if you don't want to put in the effort, there is another motherfucker on the field who will make you pay for it. Like every time.
You know what drives me? Look, I got two things to say, and then we can move on here. Unless, of course, there's something you want to add.
No, I think I
Think
said what I
about
need
think
to say.
about first. I want to start with DK Metcalf because you remember the play where Russell Wilson threw an interception in Arizona on the goal line, and Buda Baker was running back for a pick six. DK Metcalf comes flying out of nowhere and just within 40 yards. I mean, the guy was probably running 30 miles an hour. I mean, not obviously not, but I've never seen hustle like that on a player before. But the same player will stop short of the goal line because he thinks he's beat everybody and then fumble the ball on the 1 yard line. That's one thing that drives me nuts. And then I think about players. You can think about players in multiple sports where they're just they don't quit on anything ever. And I know we talked about this guy a while back and how he should be in the Hall of Fame. The best example of this comes to me in Pete Rose. His
Hmm.
nickname, Charlie Hustle. Think about every time you watch baseball, somebody hits an infield grounder that gets thrown out at first that hasn't even gotten 25% to the first base bag yet. Pete Rose was hustling on every single play because he knows the laws of numbers. Some point, somebody's going to fumble the ball.
Yeah,
All it takes is like a bobble and you're safe.
right.
Players like Robinson Cano, they have no idea what hustle is. Never seen it in their lives. Didn't watch Pete Rose. Didn't have a chance to because they're
Well,
too
it's like,
young.
yeah, Pete Rose. I mean, he has more hits than anybody in the
But
league in the history of the league, right?
yeah, but you think about, and this is why you go back to players like Lawrence Taylor. Never gave up. He never gave up on a play. Never. Deion Sanders was another one of those guys. Never give up. I mean, you can name them throughout history.
Yeah,
They're all
the
special.
greats. These
They're
are
all
the
special.
greats of the game. Yeah.
And I hate to see lack of effort, mental mistakes. There's no room for them in the sport. You're a professional. Anyway, sorry about that.
All good. No, needs to be said. Up next, a much less interesting game. The Denver Broncos, hosting the hapless Panthers. Um, I mean, I predicted Denver was going to blow this open. They still won by 14, but it still seemed like they could have done more.
I
I I don't know. Are you sold on Bo Nix yet? I mean, I know that like everyone in Denver seems to think so, but I don't know. I think that there's still some room.
look, we're gonna have this talk here, and it's gonna go a little bit differently than it did on the Sports Daily last night, where Ben just straight up laughed in my face, said that Bo Nix is terrible. I think this game enters him into the rookie of the year conversation. I don't think he's a front runner by any means, but there's somebody nipping at your heels now that you're not just going to run away with it like Andrew Luck, Robert Griffin III, and Russell Wilson all going battle back in the day. Robert Griffin won it, which I thought either of the other two guys should have,
Uh,
but whatever.
Robert Griffin took the Redskins to the playoffs in his first year, so
Yeah,
that's
lost
not
to Russell
nothing.
Wilson.
I mean, but Russell Wilson had a better supporting cast. Well, like I said, that's a debate for another. But so you're saying Bo Nix is in the conversation for rookie of the year?
I do, and I look when you can look at things at the beginning of the season and predict Washington to come in second in the division, you know that they're coming in with a good team and a good plan. And then you have Denver where you're like, they might not win. They might not win a game, which certainly, is not, we weren't talking out of school back then, but he has made them a relevant team. They're 5-3. They're in the playoff mix. That's more than you could hope for coming into the season as a Denver Broncos fan. And there's more to come. He
Yeah.
gets better every week. I wouldn't say by any stretch of the imagination that he's terrible.
No. Terrible is not a word that comes to mind when I think of Bo Nix. And I even in the preseason when I saw him play against the Packers, I was like, he's pretty good. You know, he's definitely raw. He's a rookie and it's preseason, so he's gonna make some mistakes. But like I thought he throws the ball accurately. He seems to make pretty good decisions with it. Um, does I think that yeah, I don't think it's absurd to have the conversation for Bo Nix as rookie of the year. I think Jalen Reed is definitely better. I think that he's definitely a more consistent, more talented quarterback. Um,
You mean
that
Daniel?
being that being said, though, you're right. The Broncos are 5-3, and I would have them at 1-7 at this point in the season, before the season started. So I think that and in Denver, this is a team that's really started to get used to the misery. I mean, it's been 10 years. This is the 10th season that they haven't had a winning record, if they don't have one this year. They haven't been to the playoffs since they won the Super Bowl. Um, and like I said, they're in the mix. You know, if Kansas City starts unraveling, they could win
I
the
could see
division.
them beating Kansas City in the
I
future.
think they're better than Kansas City right now. I really do.
All right,
And
that's fair.
and it's like, and that's what it's like. I was gonna make this point. I mean, we can transition into Kansas City gets a win on the road this week in Vegas. I don't even think, people are like, oh, Kansas City's the only undefeated team left. Are they the best team in the league? I'm like, I don't even know if Kansas City's the best team in the division. Like, I mean, I don't think they're much better than the Broncos. I don't think they're much better than the Chargers either. And I think that it's like you look at the Chiefs, they're winning these games by a couple of points, some of them with questionable officiating. I mean, let's just call a duck a duck. I think that, the Patrick Mahomes is still a media darling. They got, the biggest pop star in the world dating the tight end. And it's like everyone wants that team to be good, and they've been good, but like almost accidentally. So it's like I think when the chips are down, you know, the only saving grace for Kansas City is the AFC is somewhat weak this year. It's like, could they kind of finagle their way to a new Super Bowl? But are they going to run into Detroit? Are they going to run into Green Bay or one of these teams in the NFC? And I just don't see it, man. I don't see Kansas City as a Super Bowl team this
Yeah,
year.
I'm willing to move off of the officiating gaffes until it happens again. Um, because I really hate that narrative. I really hate it.
I hate it too.
Even when it's true, I hate it because it's not good for us to talk about it all the time because the fans, I mean, we're all sick of we all hate it. If you're a fan and you see it, you know it, and you hate having to put your victories on that, but you're still happy to be undefeated. If you're a non-fan, it drives you absolutely bonkers that you have this team that keeps appearing to get a favorable call just at the right moment to put them over the top, right? Kansas City is one of two things. Either they're sneaky good and just doing enough to get away with everything, uh, just to get out of town with a win. But it's alarming that Travis Kelce has one touchdown through what, 7 games?
Hmm.
Um, that's alarming. And I like their 8 games through 8 games. No, 7. They're 7-0.
Yeah, they had a bye.
I like how deep this team is. They don't have a lot of like superstars, but they have a lot of really good players and multitudes where they can rotate in and out and still be consistently good. So I like the fact that they're trading like fourth and fifth and sixth round picks for stud star players that are studs now. Because I think about a fifth round pick, what's that going to be for Kansas City? Might not even make the team
Right.
next year. So if they get like a quantified star for that pick, that's only going to help them. And he had only a couple days with the team. I fully imagine he'll be indoctrinated into the system within a week or two. And I look for them to, I look for them to actively get beat. I want them to get beat. Um, or I want them to just absolutely beat somebody down and say, look, we're the Chiefs. But
Right.
right now,
Prove it to us.
like Mahomes' numbers are pedestrian at best. Bo Nix has actually got a better numbers. And well, it's gonna be fun watching those division games down the road because if the Raiders can hang, the Chargers and the Broncos are both formidable teams compared to the Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, most teams are formidable compared to the Raiders.
So
Uh, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, like I agree. I hate the ref narrative, but I hate that this team is undefeated. I really do because I don't think they're very good.
Can I start with the next game?
Yes.
All right, we got Dallas, San Francisco on Sunday night football. Now, Gobo, you I have an anomaly with both of these teams. First of all, being the Cowboys, because I always see them as a team that could win, that could beat you. But from the beginning of the season, you've been like they're done, they're trash, they're out. Um, you did pick them, and I'm wondering if this was because I picked San Francisco first. I don't remember.
I don't. Yeah.
But
I don't, yeah. Sorry.
do you still feel like most people are going to beat the Cowboys?
Yeah. I think this one was a toss up to me. And I think that I was giving the Cowboys defense a little bit more credit than they deserved. Um, at this point, I mean, both of these teams are inconsistent this year. I'm done with Dallas. They're not making the playoffs. There's no chance. Which, heads are gonna roll. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Jerry Jones is a stubborn motherfucker, man. He never admits that he's wrong. I mean, Mike McCarthy is still working as a head coach in the NFL. And it's they got trash, they got a trash locker room right now. Everybody's frustrated. Nobody knows what the hell the fucking plan is to right the ship. um Parsons has been dealing with injuries. I mean, I don't see this team making the playoffs. I'm done picking the Cowboys, I'll be honest.
Can you envision, and this is a stupid question, but can you envision a scenario where McCarthy is let go mid-season and Aaron Rodgers says,
Yes. I've been telling everybody that, to everybody who will listen. You know, but here's the thing though, like, I would love to believe that the Jets will put a stop to this, like Aaron Rodgers getting everything that he wants because he's not winning any games.
yeah.
Um, but like, I honestly, like, I can't give the Jets that much credit. So yeah, do I see that? Like, here's the thing, Mike McCarthy, he should be fired now. He should have been fired at the end of last season. He should have been fired at the end of the previous season. Um, because it's like at this point, like, Dallas missed their Super Bowl window, talent wise, because they had shitty coaching. And they didn't fire him after that. Now that they're like going to be pedestrian numbers, missing the playoffs, not winning their division, like, I think he gets fired. I think it's probably at the end of the season. If he doesn't get fired at the end of the season, he's gonna continue to, and the Cowboys are gonna be even worse next year. So, um, but that's in my heart. I think that's what's going to happen because Aaron Rodgers is a huge narcissist baby, and he's going to demand. He's going to, because I can see him walking into the GM's office in New York and being like, "You need to trade for this player, or I'm not going out this week. You want a quarterback? You need to get Devontae Adams." And like, is he going to do that for his homie Mike McCarthy, who he won the Super Bowl with? Maybe.
All right. So just when everybody's like Brock Purdy sucks,
He had
he's
a good game.
everybody. I mean, 18 for 26, 260 with the touchdown, but he also ran it 8 times for 56 and a touchdown. So he accounted for half of their points essentially. And I mean, it's not great. It's not anything great, you know. But I got to give him credit. It is versus Dallas, which I'm not where you're at. I feel like Dallas would still beat Seattle. Could still beat Seattle. Like that's how I feel about it. Like it's not a given that we would win that game.
Well,
And that's how I've
when you lose to the Giants, bro, like, I think it's anybody can win. Anybody can win that
You
game.
know what? We don't talk about that game anymore,
I'm
God.
not saying I'm not saying Seattle's that bad. I'm just saying that, like, anybody can beat them.
We don't talk about that game. It never happened.
Yeah, that game's Bruno. We don't talk about him.
All
No,
right.
really. All
And then
right.
we had this one, which we'll talk about more on the other.
Oh, Pittsburgh and the Giants.
But man, I love Russell Wilson ball. When he's balling out,
He's still got it, man. The dude's still got so
those
much
words,
heart.
some of those
Like,
throws, man, that 43-yard bomb to set up that last touchdown, and then the 20, 34-yard touchdown he threw just right over. I mean, I used to think Warren Moon was the only one that could throw a ball with a perfect trajectory and be facing down and land the point of the ball right into the points of your hands. But Russell Wilson, I'm like, he still throws the prettiest deep ball. It's I I I realize that it's the two New York teams that are just not very good, but they're decidedly winning these games. It's not just like, ooh, let's eke this out by the seat of our pants. It's he's like, we're playing really well. And I think when Russell fumbled it late in the game with only an 8-point lead, TJ Watt said, you know what, bro, I got you. He went and took the ball right back from Daniel Jones 2 plays later. And I'm like, that's the TJ effect. He's like, I'm gonna give this back to you, bro. Gonna take that away from you. But yeah, this was a fun game to watch, actually.
no, I honestly, it's hard to hate on Russell Wilson, man, because it's like for all of his goofiness, and I mean I talked about this last week, but like for all of his goofiness and for all of his kind of like Melvinisms off the field, like the dude when he gets on the like, he can make the throws. If you want a guy who can make throws, it's him.
Well, he's smart too, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, the dude's fucking Sierra. Like, yeah, I mean he's got to be doing something right. Um, anywho, that's the recap show. So I
You know
finally
what, Bubba? You did beat me this week.
I did.
Should say that.
I was about to, and I'm very proud of myself. Because I say these things with tremendous unearned confidence. Um, but I did finally best Dames. This is the first time I've done that this season, which is not great that it's week 8. Um, so yeah. Um, here we are. Gobo gains a game, and I'm looking at these matchups next week. I feel confident that I'm going to be able to ride this wave.
You, well, I got another thing coming for you, buddy. You know what? Angry Panda Poet was pretty good this week. I don't have the exact number, but um, not bad, not bad at all. She didn't beat both of us though, because Gobo went on a tear where he only missed 3 games. I challenge you to do that again, buddy.
You watch. Anyways, and you watch here on YouTube, or you can check us out on TikTok. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Check out our TikTok channel. Check us out on X, aka Twitter. Dames has a radio show there. It's very entertaining. Check out all of our other Lock 22 productions. You might see Gobo or other members of different shows kind of guesting, looking around. A lot of good stuff coming up. Make sure to get out and vote. Election day is next week. And regardless what your political beliefs are, your voice is the only real civic power we have as American citizens. So make sure to get out and do that. Um, yeah, America, Yankees, fireworks, the whole thing, giant turtles. All right, we'll check you out, and we will see you soon with our prediction show for week 9, as well as some of our news recaps. So, Lock 22 Nation, thanks for tuning in. James Marvs.
Out.